Welcome into the PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Postgame Show. Rob Ellis, Jack Fritz. Eagles lose 32-9 to the Bucks. Their 2023 season comes to a conclusion, and what was an epic failure, tailspin, just absolute nosedive. When you start the season off the manner in which they did at 10-1, and you drop 6 of the last 7 games, it is perhaps the biggest collapse in Philadelphia sports history for a team that had expectations. This team was within 3 points, Jack, of winning a Super Bowl last year, and they they roll out of the end of this season in embarrassing, disgraceful fashion. What we saw the last 2 weeks is exactly who they are. They tried to tell us what they showed us the last 7-8 weeks is exactly who they are. They're a bad football team.
Yeah, and I'm trying to muster up like pure anger, but am I surprised? Are you surprised?
No.
Is anyone surprised with what they did tonight?
So I think a lot of people are. Because a lot of people thought they'd win the game.
I mean, they completely laid down. They've been laying down for 6 or 7 weeks.
Yep.
And I mean, this goes down as the most embarrassing Philly sports team of my entire lifetime. They were 10-1.
Mm-hmm.
They were 10-1. They had the MVP front runner. Things were good. And within 2 months, month and a half, coach needs to go. Quarterback, huge questions about how good he actually is.
Yep.
Defense, absolute sieve. And we might be watching Jason Kelce, Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox walk off the field as Eagles for the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and they went out like that. And I don't think it's on them. They're older. It's the young guys. They gave up.
Yep.
They completely gave up. They quit. And they had no interest in playing that football game tonight. There's something rotten in the team. And whether a coach can change that, I'm not sure. But there is something seriously off with this football team.
They're a hideously prepared team, number one. They have no idea what they're doing. You see receivers in the same spot. You see offensive linemen downfield. They are horrendously coached during the week. They are unprepared for a blitz, the most basic thing in the NFL they can't handle. They're horrendously coached, and they're also, Jack, a team that looks like they're ready to just end their season.
Yeah, there's Jason. We still have the TV copy in here, and Jason just talked to his dad.
Yeah.
And is that the last image that we're going to see of Jason Kelce on the field for the Eagles?
I think it very well could be. I don't think Brandon Graham's back, and I think there's questions about Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
And I would bring him back, but I think there's going to be questions. Let me just say this, too, about the quarterback. I know you're going to look at the numbers maybe if you didn't see the game and see 25 of 35, 250.
How?
He didn't throw an interception. He's got a 109-point passer rating. Let me tell you something. Don't let your eyes deceive you by what the numbers say. He stunk tonight, okay? He had, perhaps, Jack, the worst play of the season, and that's saying something. The sack that he took when he was on his own 14-yard line was an absolute disgrace and embarrassment of a play. Like, it is a Pop Warner, kid never played quarterback in his life kind of thing that happened. For you to get back into that end zone and not know to throw it away beforehand before you get in the end zone so it's a safety, it was a disgrace of a play.
And immediately kind of looking around like, wasn't me.
Yeah.
Which bothered me to no end.
And that ended them, too, by the way. They put a pin in a balloon after that happened.
The defense is kind of doing a job there for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that in the first half they were civ, but it was 16-9 at that point. He takes a sack there, and you can just feel it. You can just feel the second the Bucs got the ball back, going right down the field, huge play. By the way, tackling, embarrassing.
Yep.
Again, horrible. I mean, it's been that way for the last 6 weeks. But the safety, you know what it reminded me so much of? It reminded me of the Wentz play against the Cowboys, where he's rolling to his left and just holds on the ball and takes a sack for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a killer. And like, there's no way he had 100 passer rating tonight and had 250 yards. Like, so, it didn't happen.
It didn't. It's like misleading completely. Here's the other thing. You went into this game without A.J. Brown. You went into the game with a quarterback whose finger is jacked up to the point where he was warming up with gloves and he took the gloves off and blah, 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 right? So you know there's an issue there.
Yep.
So you think, all right, you don't really need to complicate this thing. Just run it. Just establish the run. So what do? The first 2 plays of the game, you run it pretty well, and you're like, okay, I think they kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, Jack, after those first 2 runs by DeAndre Swift, he got 8 more rushing attempts. In fact, as a team, 15 rushes, 41 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. That, in and of itself, you can't do anything in the air. You're not converting. And if Devontae Smith wasn't out of his mind making plays, you get nothing done. Yet, Brian Johnson and Sirianni and whoever is pulling the strings has these guys running it 15 times for 41 yards.
Well, and you could just tell early back-to-back 3rd and 2s.
And they throw it.
And they throw it. They go empty. On 3rd and 2. Mm-hmm. Well, what is that? Mm-hmm. And like, I think that the coaching staff's going to get crushed. Troy Aikman was all over them.
Oh, he destroyed.
I mean, they were just. I mean, from what I've seen from Twitter, because obviously I was here listening to the game.
Yep.
They're just getting absolutely crushed. But I find it very hard to believe that they don't have blitz beaters in the offense. Something has to fall on Jalen's shoulders here when it comes to the struggles against the blitz, because it doesn't make sense. It's not like they can sit there and be like, all week, we know they're going to blitz, and then not be able to do it.
Yep.
Some of that falls on the quarterback. And what I feel like I'm seeing here, Rob, and I can't believe we're back to it feels like the Wentz Doug thing.
Here we go again.
It gets lit. We just went through this.
Well, you had 2 stories today, the Jeff McClain piece, the Tim McManus piece, and then all of a sudden here we go.
Yeah.
And if you that is the tip of the iceberg, my friend.
And
because it's all going to get loose this week.
This feels worse too. I mean, maybe because we're living in the moment, but this feels so ugly. It feels like players don't trust coaches. Coaches are losing. It felt like both camps were getting their
their side of it out,
because they knew they were going to go down there and get smoked tonight. Mm-hmm. How does that happen? How do you know that you're going to go down there and get smoked unless you just gave up, which is what they did?
Yeah.
So you're starting to get the coaching staff trying to get in front of the players, throwing them under, and the player side trying to get out in front of the coaches, throwing them under the bus.
All week we heard from people who were saying, they're going to flip a switch.
Oh yeah.
Or they've been playing possum. I love that. That was probably my favorite.
I mean, Chad Ochocinco, I know he's trying to butter up the Philadelphia. Not allowed back in the city, in my opinion.
Clueless. But I'm hearing this stuff, and I'm saying I was trying to tell people all week, don't fall for that bait. Don't fall for it. Like what you're seeing is who they are, and Tampa wanted it more. They were more physical. I mean, here's all you need to know: the Eagles tonight did not convert a 3rd or 4th down. They were 0 for 11
first time
on
since
3rd and 4th down. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else to say.
Well, how about the plan out of halftime? The bubble screen.
Yep.
How about back-to-back penalties by Juergens and Mailata? Mm-hmm. How about trying to go for an end zone shot on 4th and 5?
Yeah.
When, by the way, you should have just taken the points.
Yep.
And get it to a
13-point game, which is a lot more manageable.
Yeah.
Like instead at that point it was 16, where you got to get 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. Why? Because the analytics told you that, Nick.
There's something rotten to the core here that we're going to find out, and we'll see the moves they make.
Yep.
The biggest one is going to be Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. There's so many Jeff Lurie shots to him in the box tonight, and the way that the coaching staff was getting buried by ESPN, by Aikman.
Yep.
I think they smell blood in the water heading into that game.
I think so, too. I think it was a combination of watching the film and just how despicably bad they are on both sides of the ball, and then talking to people.
Well, because, again, with the amount of – they scored 9 points tonight. With
9 points at the half.
I know. With AJ out, so sure, I get it. But, there's to look as inept as they consistently have for a majority of this year, with, again, the amount of talent they have on that side of the ball, makes no sense. Defensively, I think you kind of get it. I mean, no heart on that side of the ball. I mean, they showed a little bit of flicker of heart, but when it came down to tackling, I mean, Bradley Roby, Byard, James Bradbury can't play.
The Moore touchdown was a disgrace to life. Okay, it was. It was just beyond
to life.
Take it out of the sports realm.
Just stop saying disgrace. You don't want to stop a disgrace. You want to make sure
it's deeper.
Yeah,
I don't want you to think it's just in the sports world. It was life.
Well, I mean, honestly, they should have to walk home from Tampa.
Yes. Nobody should be able to board a plane tonight.
They don't deserve that. They literally have embarrassed the city, Rob.
Dude, this collapse is right. It's bigger than it. Look, I know 64 people are scarred for the rest of their life from it. But, this, and I get last year where they were in a Super Bowl. But to be 10-1 and to finish the season the way that they did is unprecedented.
And it's a question that we're never going to know the true answer to. Why?
Yeah, how? How did it? And I know we were seeing some miracles early in the season, but it wasn't to this degree.
No.
I mean,
no.
There is a play. I mean, there are play after play that you just replay in this game that you say, this is exactly what they've been showing us for the last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You just saw it on both sides of the ball. There's one, Mayfield throws what can only be described as a punt up there that Chris Godwin catches. That they can't defend it.
No.
And every time and time again, when they blitzed Hurts, there was no answer for it.
No.
He had no idea. They had no idea how to adjust. It was coaching malpractice.
Well, how about how this team's responded since Bosa said the blueprint's out?
That was
just nothing.
They crawled up. Instead of getting ticked off, they went the other way with it.
No, they folded. Yeah. I mean, they folded. They've embarrassed the city. Yeah. I mean, they've embarrassed the city for a long time now. But, I mean, that's about as disgraceful as a playoff performance as I've ever seen. Like, they didn't even show up. Like, people compare this to 2021. That team sucked. They had no expectations. This team has talent. They were favorites. They were favorites tonight.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
I don't know.
Why were they favorites?
They shouldn't have been.
I mean, Vegas is clueless.
It was because Vegas didn't believe in the Bucs. It was more of an anti-Buck line than it was a pro-Eagle line. But either way you slice it.
We watched the two worst teams in the playoffs tonight.
Yes, we did.
I mean,
they're going to get trucked by the Lions next week.
Of course they are.
But what does that tell you about the Eagles that they lost 32-9?
Not even close. Yeah. Well, I mean, if they played next week against the Lions, what would they hang 50 on them? Ben Johnson against this defense, with the lack of heart they have,
right?
16 again,
and the lack of ability to scheme and adjust.
They had a chance. 16-9.
Yeah,
and Jalen takes that safety
and
on his own 14.
Everything ended.
Everything ended.
Yep, and that's also the difference. As bad as that play was. And again, it's one of the worst offensive plays I've ever seen. But as bad as that play was, last year's team fights back. This year's team went in the fetal position.
They said, well, I guess it's not our night.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. It's like, oh, man, we can't overcome that. That's 2 more points. You were down 9.
Yeah. You've Dallas Goedert, looking like he's fighting with Jalen on the sideline.
2 plays later, they score, by the way.
Yeah,
right after
easy.
Because it was over.
Of course they did.
Yeah. This is you Jeffrey Lurie, man, there's a lot of things you can live with. Sometimes you're going to lose games. Like if they lost this game 31-28 and they went down guns a-blazing, we'd be angry, believe me. But that at least they would have showed you guts.
Yeah.
This is gutless.
Nah, this is not a Philadelphia team.
No, and
as simple as that.
Absolute disgrace. All right, we see you. We know you want to react. Let's do it. 215-592-9494. All right, time for the Did You Know, presented by Dell Chevrolet. You don't know Jack. Did you know that the Bucs head coach Todd Bowles went to Temple University and ended up getting his Bachelor of Science degree in May of 2023? If you didn't know that, then you don't know Jack. Get to see Jack Dell's teams at DellToyota.com and DellChevrolet.com. We're going to hear from Nick Sirianni. We're going to hear from Jalen Hurts. We're going to hear from you as well. Jack Fritz, Rob Ellis, PDQ Restaurant Point of Sale Postgame Show on the Eagles Radio Network, presented by PNC. Make today the day on 94 WIP.